First day back at work with all the students, and during the break, one of my staff, or just before the break, one of my staff had run an idea past me of getting rid of some cupboards that basically ran along the whole front of our junior workshop. And in the break, he came in and started tearing them all out. So they used to go from where you can see there,
all the way along, in behind the bandsaw to here.
and they were full size, like up to the same height as that. And what he's done, pulled them out, left a little workstation here so we can have the scroll saw, and we're going to put a little vise here, so this will be just a single little workstation. We've got our teacher desk here. We put a whiteboard up that we had lying around. The plinth of the cupboards we turned into a platform for the teacher down the front, so they're just a little bit higher at the front. I've seen that in some classrooms overseas too. And done a rearrange of the room, a little bit more movement through it. Today was our first day with students, and we got in here with the construction students and the senior team of students and just went crazy getting this all done, tearing out those cupboards, scrapping everything. We got a whole stack of aluminium to scrap for the faculty, and we've got some reclaimed plywood out of it, some reclaimed particle board out of it, and a lot of Tassie oak and Meranti. And I'll show you that in a second. We've moved that into the storeroom already. So out of the back of the cupboards, we got a fair bit of this 3mm plywood. It's a little bit jagged at the edges and stuff, but cut all that off, and that's good for a lot of junior projects, a lot of the smaller projects, rather than buying out a large sheet of plywood, because there's quite a bit there. And over here in our rack, a couple of bits of, I think, that one's Tassie oak. This one here, I think, is maple, or Meranti, Queensland maple. And over here, some good pieces of Tassie oak that are about 1.25 inches thick. These two bottom ones go all the way through to the door. So they're 3.6 metres long, close to 12 feet. And a couple of smaller bits because I cut around some of the joints and stuff. But this is one of those things with the reclaiming. Oh, there's a couple of other bits of the Meranti and maple down the bottom. Nothing's going to go to waste out of that room. The fact that we've lost all the cupboards, we've made up a loss of storage space with a gain in materials. So it's one of the ways you have to do things in schools. That's all the extruded aluminium that was, apart from the wheel rims, but all of this stuff just came out of the cupboards that were at the front of that room. They were the runners for the heavy duty doors and things that were on it. So I'm going to take that to the scrapyard on the way home today. I just dropped off the extruded aluminium at the scrapyard. A worthwhile exercise. Just the aluminium that we pulled out of that one set of cabinets across the front of the classroom came to $40. So that's a nice little bit of money to go back into the faculty. $1.50 a kilo at the moment for extruded aluminium, and there was 27 kilos of it in that one cabinet across the front of the room. We also had two aluminium bicycle wheel rims without any of the spokes and that sort of stuff. Work week was a short one, so there wasn't much that happened there, but I'm back home this weekend. All this area, which is next to the stairs, we want to try and put a retaining wall along here and fill it a bit. So at the very top of the driveway, we've got this massive big pile of fill that we got from a property about a year or so ago for free. I'm going to cut back that vine a bit more and get the fence down, hook up the trailer, drive the trailer up the driveway, fill the trailer, then back it back down so I can dump it into this area a lot easier, rather than wheelbarrowing up and down. But first of all, I've got to get all these pavers and these bricks and everything out of this area, so I'm not burying the pavers, because I might be able to give them away or sell them. Sell would be nice, but give away is fine. And dumping dirt in here and getting this area leveled. So I got all that paving pulled up, including we had bricks. There used to be a brick path up here, so I've pulled all those up as well. So it's just the copper logs and stuff that are in there, and some broken pavers and bricks, and that'll be part of the fill. So I'm going to try and fill all this area to be the same height as that area there. And coming back to about somewhere down here, going to move the retaining wall forward a little bit, so that the pathway can go from the edge of the shed, which is in behind there, rather than being this little distance, it'll go out to about there. So it'll add about 12 inches to the width of the pathway, and I'm going to end up concreting a pathway down here, and that'll be a grass grassed, possibly, area. And around behind the shed, that's all the pavers that were in that area. That's all those ones that used to be out the front. And that's all the bricks that were up and down the walkway. So yesterday I got all those pavers pulled up and all the bricks that were down this area. I got one trailer load of soil dumped in, and just before dark I got another trailer load of soil filled up. You can see I'm just sort of basically on the end of the carport, and I'm just tossing the dirt down in there at the moment because there needs to be a fair bit of fill in there. But after I get this unloaded, I'm going to start setting out where the retaining walls are going to be for the pathway and everything like that. So I've got this area pegged out. Inside the pink string is where the retaining wall is going to go, so I need to remove this old one and remove this old one, and also try and dig out a lot of this sloped section. Little pathway next to the shed, and the retaining walls will end up going there. I've done it so that we're leaving basically a 5-foot pathway between the stairs and the retaining wall. So, end of the day, dug out all of that trenching, a little bit there. There's all the soil. Pink rope is basically the height that retaining wall is probably going to be built at, because that's the height of the ground level up there. So I've been digging down here. Going to do a path here next to the shed, just a little bit lower than this slab, just to reduce the chance of water flowing through the shed. And so that's going to be the retaining wall along there, and that'll be a little grassed area or something like that we want to set up just on this side of the house behind the driveway. Having a hard time trying to get that post out. It goes down about 2 feet further into the ground. Got the first one out easy enough. That one's hanging on, so I'll have to work a bit more at that another day. But almost down to the level I need to get down here. And where I'm kneeling, this is going to be just basically a sloped path up to the front area of the house, the front yard. That's the end of this week. I just got to pack up, and I think that'll be it. Call it quits. See you next week. I've got 2 of my senior students working on their projects at the moment. I took some photos which I'm going to put on Instagram. One of them has started cutting out all of their pieces. They're just using 19mm exterior ply, so 3/4 of an inch, to make a nice big desk and hutch, and she's going to make it so it breaks down, like it's knockdown joints. Otherwise it's going to be too heavy to move. And the other student who's currently started is doing a folding clothing rack for her room, and she's using Jarrah, which you can see here. We bought this rough sawn. I had a sample of the Jarrah like this in the classroom, and then when it arrived and she saw this, she got a little bit disheartened, thinking she goes, oh, it doesn't look like what I ordered. But she spent a couple of days basically figuring out everything that she needed, all of her parts, and setting them all out and making sure that she had all her measurements right. And today she docked them all off to the right size, or to set sizes. Like these parts that have all been done here, these are all going to be parts of the legs, and they're going to be still stripped down further. But so far we've just planed them on both sides to get rid of all the rough sawn, and they're the exact same size now. So that's those. I don't have them again until next week now, so that's got to sit here flat out of the way of other classes. That's what's happened with timber classes so far this week. Something new and exciting in our workshops. Finally got some emergency stops put in, so there's one on this side and one directly opposite on the other side of the room. Each of our workshops have just had those installed in the last week, so they've made sure that every power point and every machine is connected to those, so that if there's ever in the unlikely event of an accident, somebody gets stuck on a machine or gets pulled into a machine or something like that, which is always a fear with school students, we've now got a way of belting off the power and stopping any further injury happening. So this wood shop's got 2, next door wood shop's got 2, and our metal room all the way down the end is a larger room, so it's actually got 3, because you need to be able to reach them really quickly, apparently, like something about need to be within 10 metres of the stop. So that's great. It's good to finally have something like that, because I've had other people in other schools say, oh, they talk about the emergency stops, and this is the first time I've ever had them in a school. My last school didn't have them either. Great news.